I talk a lot about the value of consulting, but I was thinking about how that relates to personal brand, and I spotted someone who focuses on that. Mary Henderson joins me for a conversation about branding and how that fits on this bonus episode of The Business of Tech. The days of limiting yourself to the big players is coming to an end. Modernize your cloud offerings by partnering with Linode and Akamai. The cloud landscape is growing with alternative cloud providers like Linode offering better price to performance and better support at a fraction of the cost. There's just some clients that don't fit into the one-size-fits-all box of the big three. Enter Linode, Linux cloud hosting, at the fraction of the cost of the big players. Your customers can save up to 70% on their cloud bill. Find out more at linode.com/MSP Radio. Mary, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Dave. I appreciate it.
Now, I'm super excited to understand a little bit more around your perspective on personal brand. It's a phrase I hear all the time. Give me your definition of what a personal brand is.
You're absolutely right, Dave. There's a lot of different definitions of personal branding. For me, it's actually quite simple. You, the human, are the business, first and foremost. And for me, a personal brand is a collection of your authentic, your natural state of being, which is made up of your knowledge, your wisdom, your skills, your values, your gifts, and your talents. And when you merge all those together, you get to see an individual in their natural state of being.
Now, when I think about this, most of the people, my audience is IT services companies, MSPs, those people with deep technical knowledge, right? So they would almost feel like they're natural for this. But it always falls down, right? Because then it falls down because if I go out and look at their websites, it's a collection of, they're trying to put forth a company, it's losing the knowledge, the consultancy. Like, how do you merge those two ideas? The idea of somebody's personal knowledge and brand versus they're trying to put out, quote unquote, a marketing message.
Yeah, I think that, a lot of people have this misconception that personal branding is all about being famous. And whilst that could be the effect of the cause, we need to look at personal branding a little bit more strategically and deliberately. And the reason for that, Dave, is because we're looking for consistency and congruency in all aspects of their brand, from, yes, the color schema, the visuals that they use. There needs to be the consistency from their website to LinkedIn, for example. Their brand story, is it consistent across all the interviews that they've done on podcasts or even keynotes that they get invited to? And most importantly, it's the messaging. And I think this is really key. Is the message crystal clear, and does it actually pull in their target audience to start a conversation, or even better, to bring them into their ecosystem, which essentially is their sales funnel. And so if we can get all of those elements merged together and build our branding architecture, then when we show up, we do have the consistency, we do have the congruency, we have the believability and the trustability factor. And one more thing, Dave, it's all about leaving our brand signature. It's defining what that signature looks like so that people always remember you. The goal for personal branding is to always remain top of mind, always. And to do that, all of these elements need to be in place.
Okay. Now, it sounds like that you're not a believer in this kind of idea of branding separate from lead generation. This happens a lot of times, particularly for bigger companies, where they sort of separate out this brand awareness from lead gen. How does it work in your mind?
Well, I look at lead generation a little bit differently, because I always ask myself, what is my end goal here? And the end goal for me is to ensure that the outcome of my lead generation is building brand advocates. That's what I'm looking for. Whether they buy from me today, whether they don't buy from me tomorrow, I am looking for brand advocates. Because if I can give somebody an ecstatic Mary Henderson brand experience, I'm going to remain top of mind. So 12 months time, Dave, when they need help with their personal brand or building their online program, they're going to remember me, because it's not just the one experience I've given them, it's the touch points along the way that I'm giving them that are consistent, they're congruent, my messaging is consistent, I'm in my lane. But at the end of the day, I'm building brand advocates.
Okay, now you've laid out a lot of what almost could be said is a lot of theory. Make that concrete for me. Give me sort of an example of how that's done.
If you go to my website, there, for example, you will find a number of free masterclasses. Now, they're not just 1 or 2 minute masterclasses that waste people's time. They genuinely go deep and wide. And a lot of people say, oh my God, you give away so much content. I'm actually not giving away a lot of content. I'm giving you what you need, but I'm also taking you on a journey. And so people leave that masterclass and they're like, wow, I would have paid for that. That's a brand experience. Then they go to my LinkedIn profile and they see that I'm consistent with my posting. My messaging is consistent. I go deep, I go wide, I do a lot of giveaways. Again, I'm giving them an ecstatic brand experience. But as I'm doing all of that, I'm leading them to the next step in my lead generation, in my sales funnel, if you will. So if you like what you see, why don't you click here and go to the next stage and see if you like this or experience this, or maybe you want to have a conversation. I can do a gap analysis on you. So it's always leading them one step closer to the sale. But I do it through my content, Dave. I'm a massive advocate of getting people to feel me. I have this idea, this notion called show and tell. I want to show people what it's like to work with me.
So I would think that there's a lot of systems behind all this. Have you systemized everything that what you're doing?
Well, they say you could take the tech out of the girl out of tech, but you can't take the tech out of the girl. So, for someone that's owned a software company for 7 years before my coaching business, we're a very systems orientated business. Again, I come from a strong sales background. So systems are in my blood and I think like that. So yes, absolutely. Lots of automation. My entire resources are all systemized. The whole lead generation experience is fully systemized from beginning to end. Yeah.
Now you brought it up. I wanted to ask about that. You come from a tech and a software background. Like, kind of, what have you brought from that world into what you're doing with the investment in branding and market awareness?
I came face to face with personal branding in year 2000, in the height of my career. Working for a tech company, I had an experience, and I immediately recognized that I could go left or I could go right. And if I went right and solved this complex problem, I could command my demand and be known as that person in the industry, which is exactly what I did, Dave. And then I went on to build really big sales teams. We ditched the job descriptions and we actually converted every person in my team as a brand, because you have to match the natural state of being of an individual with a portfolio. And it worked amazingly. And then in my software company, we focused on building web-based software, bespoke software for the academic sector, specifically around membership systems. And what I learned outside of personal branding and sales is and systems is frameworking. This has been a huge, big thing in my business, is to be able to framework how you want the user to experience that knowledge or that particular implementation part of the process, and breaking it down into micro pieces so that the human can actually understand it. And all of these elements that come from my corporate background, my tech background, I have merged fully into my business and built a SaaS software for my personal branding, specifically to pull these attributes out of individuals and create reports so that I'm using real life data to make much better decisions.
Can you walk me through how that works?
The software is called Authority, and the client starts working with me. They log in, and then there's a series of applications that they need to complete. Of course, at the back, there's algorithms which spits out a report based on the answer and the scoring. And so we're asking very specific questions in specific categories. So we're looking at their core values, for example. And so they'll go through this whole process where they're scoring themselves. There's a specific questions that we ask. They score themselves from 1 to 10. And then at the end, the system spits out a report that actually shows us these are your core values, that these core values are associated with these core groups. And I'm just giving you an example of why this is important in personal branding is I need that, because if you're going to create content and your core value, let's say, is love, and your relationship coach, we need that core value to show up in the content, but also that individual needs to also live by that value, right? And a lot of people don't live by their values. They worship the things that, they're the small part of themselves. I'm not good enough, and this is what they're giving out to the outside world, rather than saying, no, I do love myself. I love the fact that I'm embracing what I'm doing. That that's a value you have to live by and show up in that frame. So when I can get these type of reports, not only are we creating content around these attributes, their gifts, their talents, their as I said, their values, their archetype, all of these aspects need to be merged in their messaging, as I said, their content, their sales funnels, the type of content they give away. And most importantly, how do I show up in the world? Because these attributes make up who I am. And then I'm working with the real individual, not somebody that says, I want to be Kim Kardashian. How can I get you to become Kim Kardashian if I don't know Kim Kardashian? So we've got to stop aspiring to be famous, and we need to start aspiring to be ourselves.
Yeah, well, that's fair. I do not want to end up being Kim Kardashian. So if you're advising these small typical IT services sort of organization, and these are organizations that have these lots of deep knowledge that they want to convey out to their customers, like what's the one thing that they really need to get themselves organized around?
I think that content is king. I really believe that. I think that if you want people to get to know you, do it through your content. And LinkedIn is an amazing destination, or one destination that these people can start exploring. And it's not about showcasing the company, Dave. It's showcasing the individuals in the organization. And it's the individuals that need to share their passions, their knowledge, their expertise, their specialization, how they solved client B's problem, how did they approach them, what was different. Like, tell micro stories about your clients' experiences so that other clients like them can self-realize, oh, I sound like that client and we've got that problem. Maybe we should give these guys a call. So it's really about individualizing the brands internally in these organizations, and let your people do the talking for you. They're the ones that will be advocating your corporate brand and your solution through their own experiences and through their own language. Let them frame it in their language so that people buy from people. Never forget that. And that's something that I think a lot of these small to medium-sized organizations forget. They can become so much more powerful than the larger organizations if they allow their people to be their voice.
That's super powerful. So it sounds like you've got a bunch of resources available for people to try out even online. Where are those all at?
Just go to my website, maryhendersoncoaching.com, or you can even book a free coaching call with me, which is maryhendersoncoaching.com/apply. And everything's there.
Awesome. Well, Mary, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Dave. I really appreciate you.
Thanks for your time and attention. Time is a finite resource, and I really value you giving me some of yours. If you like this video, you can let me know with a like of the video, and even more valuable, hitting the subscription button. My content is all free, and I use metrics like subscriptions to pay the bills, so it has real value. The content here is produced under ethics guidelines, posted at businessof.tech. If you're interested in more content like this, you can get access to content early via our Patreon at patreon.com/MSPradio. It's our give what you want model, where you set the value of what you think the content is worth. If you like this podcast, you can catch it daily as the 5-minute news and commentary show, The Business of Tech, available on all your favorite podcatchers with links at businessof.tech. Just hit that big blue button to subscribe. Again, thank you for taking time out of your day to listen, and I really value the interaction. If you want to say something in the comments, I do respond and watch all that, and I look forward to talking to you next time.